And joining us today in our Book Talk segment, great to welcome two women who have put together a book that's quite interesting and a little different. It's called Grain Power, over 100 delicious gluten-free ancient grain and super blend recipes. We're joined by Patricia Green and Carolyn Hemming today. And ladies, good to talk to you. How are you today?
We're great. Thanks for having us, Doug.
Yeah, good to have a chance to chat with you a little bit. Always kind of interested in the latest in dieting, and particularly healthy dieting. And as someone who suffered from food allergies as a kid, this had a particular interest to me. I guess there's a lot of people out there. I never had a problem with the gluten, but I know a lot of people do. So this is going to help them, I imagine.
Yeah, so we've done a book on ancient grains, specifically ancient grains that are gluten-free. If there anyone is out there that does need gluten-free, it's definitely not the only aspect to good health. It can be a part of it. So the ancient grains that we've used really can be incorporated into what you're eating every day, and we show you how to do that really easily.
I wonder why, and it seems like the last maybe 10 years or so, the gluten thing is kind of exploded, if that's the right word, as far as people having trouble with it. Has that always been that way, or is it just maybe the way food has been processed the last 10 or 15 years, we notice it more as a problem?
Yeah, we really don't know, the exact origin of it, but we do know that people overall, whether it's gluten or disease or other allergies or sensitivities, as you mentioned, we're starting to realize, and the North Americans become smarter, that processed foods are probably something to do with it. So we're all getting wiser about, what we're putting into our mouths and what we're feeding our families.
Just kind of going through the book, and there's so many grains that I've never heard of. I'm sure people out there haven't heard of them as well. First of all, how did you kind of get interested in that aspect of a cookbook like this, and how do you find out what kind of grains are out there? It's kind of interesting to kind of look at some of the titles of these grains.
Well, it's Patricia speaking, and I actually had been cooking quinoa for a while, and thought, well, my sister is a marathon runner. She's a busy businesswoman, and my sister started out on quinoa, and it's really evolved from discovering one valuable super grain, and in going into these other super grains, which would include amaranth, buckwheat, you've probably heard of, chia, oats, maybe even sorghum. You've maybe seen that on some labels.
Right, seen that one. Yep. And these grains come from what plant in particular? Out of the wheat plant, the rice, or where do they come from?
You know what? They all come from different individual plants. Some of them are seeds, and some of them are grains. And they all have their own unique attributes. But the big thing to remember is that the ones in this book, these ancient grains, yes, they are gluten-free, but being ancient, they haven't been messed with in a lab. So these have not been genetically modified. That's the benefit of ancient grains. We may have to watch for that in the future as the market becomes more competitive and companies want to get in on the action of growing them, in different spaces. They may try and modify them, but as it stands now, they're not genetically modified. So the nutrition that's within them is whole food, superfood nutrition.
Is it the nutrition, you mentioned that, is it the fiber in it? Is it the carbohydrates? What is it about these grains that is the nutrition part? Any protein in it?
You know what? It's such a combination of lists and lists of things. Some of the top ones, yeah, for sure, they're complex carbohydrates. Many of them are complete proteins. Many of them offer, for example, natural sources of iron, things like omega-3s. So having all these minerals and these vitamins that are natural, our body, you eat this stuff and your bodies are going, wow, this is great. And that leads to cholesterol lowering, blood pressure lowering. They all have a lot of plant sterols in them. So that, helps as great cancer prevention. Most of these ancient grains have the health benefit of inhibiting inflammation, suppressing appetite, improving immune function. There's such a list. It's crazy. Aiding in digestion for sure. They all contain a lot of fiber. They stabilize blood sugar, so that helps to prevent things like diabetes and insulin resistance, and they help fat to metabolize. Everybody would probably love to hear that. They can prevent macular degeneration. They say, people these days people being born today even could live to be 120. So if that's the case, we figure we should start treating our bodies better.
No doubt.
Healthy ancient grains.
It's kind of interesting, I guess, the native people that were here thousands of years ago or longer, however many years it may have been, found these somehow. We don't know how, I guess, but they were able to discover these grains, maybe growing naturally, but they decided, well, I'm going to eat that, and it worked. So it's amazing how, when you go back that far in history, people back then knew the right thing to do, didn't they, as far as eating?
Yeah, the origins are really mysterious. Like finding seeds in a cave that dates back 10,000 years. And that sounds very, very mysterious, but you're right. These people knew, whether or not they understood science, they knew that these ancient grains did great things for their bodies.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the recipes. You break it down into different meals and parts of the day. I guess breakfast people kind of associate with grains anyway, with cereal, and you have some cereals in there as well. So I guess you can just put milk on some of these grains, right, make it like a cereal?
Yes, for sure. We have some very simple recipes that they can make very quickly and enjoy them just like they do all their other breakfasts, but we make them super healthy. So, for example, I've made a chewy chocolate granola with cherries and buckwheat, and I don't know having a chewy granola is so fabulous, and we've sweetened it with honey. So it's a natural sweetener, and it's just enjoyable to have something that tastes like dessert, but it has so much nutrition in it. That would be an example for breakfast. Mm-hmm.
I guess the biggest obstacle maybe people have, I mean, everybody wants to be healthy, of course, but they think, well, it's a health kind of thing. It's not going to taste good, but like you just described in that particular recipe, I mean, I think when it comes to sweetening, people say, well, you can only be using sugar, but you say use honey, so that's a great substitute. I guess that's the biggest obstacle, though, right? Taste and giving it a shot, huh?
Yeah. And that's really part of our mission in writing this book, is showing people how to transform the things that they're probably already eating into things that taste the same but have pumped up nutrition.
Now, a lot of great recipes in the book, but I know some people out there saying, well, that's great, healthy, but how do I find these super grains in the food store to put these together? Do you have to go to a particular, the health food stores, or the regular stores starting to get more of this in stock, regular food stores?
Well, you know what, the regular stores are getting more of this because we're demanding it as customers and consumers. It can be found in the health food section for sure, and even health food stores if you need to. But as consumers are getting educated on how nutritious food is, or these types of foods, they're actually pulling it into the stores because they're asking for it. And we're seeing more of them on the shelves. You should be able to go into a store and find a handful of these.
So it is getting easier to find. That's good then. I know in
Absolutely.
years gone by, you had to, try and find a store, a health food store somewhere in your town, and a lot of big cities have it, but the smaller cities may not. But that's good to hear that they're more available now. Well, the name of the book is called Grain Power. It features over 100 recipes, as we said, gluten-free and super blend recipes that, breakfast, lunch, and dinner foods. I know you have a great picture of pancakes on the back, so you can still have pancakes, can't you?
You can. Those are sorghum pancakes. So beautiful, fluffy pancakes enriched with ancient grains. You can't get any better than that.
They look great. They look great. Well, ladies, appreciate you joining us today. Give out a website. People get a hold of this book, or get a hold of you if they like.
Patricia, we're at patriciaandcarolyn.com. You can buy the book Grain Power in all bookstores across North America, especially online at amazon.com.
And I should have mentioned, both you and Carolyn are sisters, too, so you're working together. That worked out pretty well, I guess, huh? Get along well?
We still love each other.
Ladies, appreciate you taking a few minutes today. Good luck with the book, and hopefully we can talk to you again sometime.
Thanks, Doug.